In our constantly evolving world, innovation plays a crucial role in advancing and improving our daily lives. The emergence of AI, big data, digital governance, the proliferation of startups, and other trends have significantly impacted the future of nations across the globe in numerous ways. The importance of evidence based policymaking becomes increasingly relevant towards dynamic governance. Innovation, governance, and policy are key to Indonesia's development. PIAUI continues to contribute towards being one of the top five in Southeast Asia. Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia is committed to producing exceptional human resources capable of playing critical roles in both public and private organizations. Students will learn about the theories, practices, and methods involved in the public organizations, as well as the policies and strategic environmental forces that shape public sector operations at the local, national, and global levels. Students are nurtured to be the future leaders and agents of change in various organizations, corporations, and small medium enterprises. They are equipped with knowledge and global outlook with reference to governing an enterprise, managing resources, as well as entrepreneurial skill sets. Students are prepared to understand the principles and practices of tax policy and administration at the micro and macro levels, as well as at the levels of central and local government. In addition, students are equipped to respond to local and global changes such as e commerce and cross border transactions. The Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia collaborates with reputable institutions at the constantly evolving world. Innovation plays a crucial role in advancing and improving our daily lives. The constantly evolving world, innovation plays a crucial role in advancing and improving our daily lives. The emergence of AI, big data, digital governance, the proliferation of startups, and other trends have significantly impacted the future of nations across the globe in numerous ways. The importance of evidence based policymaking becomes increasingly relevant towards dynamic governance. Innovation, governance, and policy are key to Indonesia's development. PIAUI continues to contribute towards being one of the top five in Southeast Asia. Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia is committed to producing exceptional human resources capable of playing critical roles in both public and private organizations. Students will learn about the theories, practices, and methods involved in the public organizations, as well as the policies and strategic environmental forces that shape public sector operations at the local, national, and global levels. Students are nurtured to be the future leaders and agents of change in various organizations, corporations, and small medium enterprises. They are equipped with knowledge and global outlook with reference to governing an enterprise, managing resources, as well as entrepreneurial skill sets. Students are prepared to understand the principles and practices of tax policy and administration at the micro and macro levels, as well as at the levels of central and local government. In addition, students are equipped to respond to local and global changes such as e commerce and cross border transactions. The Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia collaborates with reputable institutions at the national and international level to enhance academic, research, and community engagement activities. This includes partnerships for inbound and outbound lecturers or students, as well as the establishment of double degree programs. The presence of PIAUI is a cornerstone of education that not only produces graduates with specific knowledge in the field of administration, committed to foster graduates with integrity, professionalism, and compassion, also serves as a model for producing excellent academicians and practitioners in Indonesia and the world. In our constantly evolving world, innovation plays a crucial role in advancing and improving our daily lives. The emergence of AI, big data, digital governance, the proliferation of startups, and other trends have significantly impacted the future of nations across the globe in numerous ways. The importance of evidence based policymaking becomes increasingly relevant towards dynamic governance. Innovation, governance, and policy are key to Indonesia's development. FIA-UI continues to contribute towards being one of the top five in Southeast Asia. Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia is committed to producing exceptional human resources capable of playing critical roles in both public and private organizations. Students will learn about the theories, practices, and methods involved in the public organizations, as well as the policies and strategic environmental forces that shape public sector operations at the local, national, and global levels. Students are nurtured to be the future leaders and agents of change in various organizations, corporations, and small medium enterprises. They are equipped with knowledge and global outlook with reference to governing an enterprise, managing resources, as well as entrepreneurial skill sets. Students are prepared to understand the principles and practices of tax policy and administration at the micro and macro levels, as well as at the levels of central and local government. In addition, students are equipped to respond to local and global changes such as e commerce and cross border transactions. The Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia collaborates with reputable institutions at the national and international level to enhance academic, research, and community engagement activities. This includes partnerships for inbound and outbound lecturers or students, as well as the establishment of double degree programs. The presence of PIA-UI is a cornerstone of education that not only produces graduates with specific knowledge in the field of administration, committed to foster graduates with integrity, professionalism, and compassion, also serves as a model for producing excellent academicians and practitioners in Indonesia and the world. In our constantly evolving world, innovation plays a crucial role in advancing and improving our daily lives. The emergence of AI, big data, digital governance, the proliferation of startups, and other trends have significantly impacted the future of nations across the globe in numerous ways. The importance of evidence based policymaking becomes increasingly relevant towards dynamic governance. Innovation, governance, and policy are key to Indonesia's development. FIA-UI continues to contribute towards being one of the top five in Southeast Asia. Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia is committed to producing exceptional human resources capable of playing critical roles in both public and private organizations. Students will learn about the theories, practices, and methods involved in the public organizations, as well as the policies and strategic environmental forces that shape public sector operations at the local, national, and global levels. Students are nurtured to be the future leaders and agents of change in various organizations, corporations, and small medium enterprises. They are equipped with knowledge and global outlook with reference to governing an enterprise, managing resources, as well as entrepreneurial skill sets. Students are prepared to understand the principles and practices of tax policy and administration at the micro and macro levels, as well as at the levels of central and local government. In addition, students are equipped to respond to local and global changes such as e-commerce and cross-border transactions. The Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia collaborates with reputable institutions at the national and international level to enhance academic, research, and community engagement activities. This includes partnerships for inbound and outbound lecturers or students, as well as the establishment of double degree programs. The presence of PIA-UI is a cornerstone of education that not only produces graduates with specific knowledge in the field of administration, committed to foster graduates with integrity, professionalism, and compassion, also serves as a model for producing excellent academicians and practitioners in Indonesia and the world. In our constantly evolving world, innovation plays a crucial role in advancing and improving our daily lives. The emergence of AI, big data, digital governance, the proliferation of startups, and other trends have significantly impacted the future of nations across the globe in numerous ways. The importance of evidence based policymaking becomes increasingly relevant towards dynamic governance. Innovation, governance, and policy are key to Indonesia's development. PIA-UI continues to contribute towards being one of the top five in Southeast Asia. Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia is committed to producing exceptional human resources capable of playing critical roles in both public and private organizations. Students will learn about the theories, practices, and methods involved in the public organizations, as well as the policies and strategic environmental forces that shape public sector operations at the local, national, and global levels. Students are nurtured to be the future leaders and agents of change in various organizations, corporations, and small medium enterprises. They are equipped with knowledge and global outlook with reference to governing an enterprise, managing resources, as well as entrepreneurial skill sets. Students are prepared to understand the principles and practices of tax policy and administration at the micro and macro levels, as well as at the levels of central and local government. In addition, students are equipped to respond to local and global changes such as e-commerce and cross-border transactions. The Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia collaborates with reputable institutions at the national and international level to enhance academic, research, and community engagement activities. This includes partnerships for inbound and outbound lecturers or students, as well as the establishment of double degree programs. The presence of PIA-UI is a cornerstone of education that not only produces graduates with specific knowledge in the field of administration, committed to foster graduates with integrity, professionalism, and compassion, also serves as a model for producing excellent academicians and practitioners in Indonesia and the world.
Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to welcome you to check. Okay. Hosted by Willy Brandt School of Public Policy, University of Erfurt, and Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia. Before we begin, we will hear opening remarks from Vice Dean of Faculty of Administrative Science, Ibu Indri, and followed by presentation from the AID. For Bu Indri, the time is yours.
Okay, very good afternoon, everyone. Dear honorable speakers, Professor Dr. Ahim Kemerling, Chair of Public Policy and International Development and the Director of Willy Brandt School of Public Policy, University of Erfurt, Dr. Muhammad Yopan, MAB, Government Account Lead at Amazon Web Service, and also a full-time lecturer in the Public Administration Department, Universitas Indonesia, and our moderator today, Dr. Maria Tambunan. She's full-time lecturer in the Fiscal Administration Department, Universitas Indonesia, and honorable guests and participants. On behalf of the Dean of the Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia, via UI, we would humbly welcome you all in today's exciting academic talk with theme The Future of Work in Indonesia, Scenario and Their Consequences for Public Policy. We are all looking forward to hear from two experienced experts in their respective field, Professor Kemerling and Dr. Yupan. We are very honored to host this prestigious academic talk that is part of a bigger event, the fourth International Conference on Administrative Science, Policy and Governance Studies, ICAS PGS, and the fifth International Conference of Business Administration and Policy, ICBAP. This annual event will be conducted at VIA UI Campus Depok starting today as the pre-conference and will be continued tomorrow with the conference day until Thursday, 24 to 25 of July. You are all warmly invited to also join the two conference day. The theme of today's talk is very relevant to improve our understanding on the portrayal of the future work in Indonesia and how should we prepare it strategically from the policy perspective through scenario planning. And at the same time, the theme also resonates the five knowledge pillar of VIA UI. The first, policy. Policy is related to the way problems in the public and private sector are solved through rigorous and research-based decision-making. And second pillar is governance. Governance represents collaborations between state and non-state actors for the greater goods for all. The third, innovation. Innovation encourages the knowledge creations to solve problem. The fourth pillar is institution. Institution strengthen and combines entities of resources in legalized manner to create values. And the last one is culture. We may not live human at its core, that is created, embraced, and nurtured by culture. And once again, our sincere thanks to Professor Kemerling and Dr. Yovan for sharing their invaluable experience and insight. And we trust that today's academic discussions will enrich the knowledge and perspective of all participants. We look forward to your participation again tomorrow. Don't forget, come and join us at the conference tomorrow, and thank you.
Then we move to presentation from the AAD. For the AAD, the time is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us today on this occasion. So, I have the opportunity today to give a presentation on what is the DAAD, what is our service, and some information on our scholarship programs. Okay, DAAD is the abbreviation of German Academic Exchange Service. We are the largest funding organization for international exchange. We are mainly funded by the government of Germany, and we have years of experience in intermediating higher education with worldwide network, and the AAD also the national agency for Erasmus+. What we offer individual scholarship. We also offer funding for university cooperation project, and we also offer expertise and advice on German and international higher education system. Just a short information about the DAAD. Our headquarters is located in Bonn, Germany, and we have 60 offices worldwide, including one regional office in Jakarta. Our regional office in Jakarta is in charge for Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and Timor-Leste. And in 2022, 833 Indonesians have got funding from the DAAD. In terms of sustainability and agenda of 2030, the AAD has set its goal, and one of our main goal is to align our program with the SDGs agenda. So actually, the presentation is not yet prepared. Next, please. Yeah, this is what is the DAAD. Next. Okay, next. Okay, as I have mentioned before that the DAAD offer individual scholarship. I just give some example of our scholarship program. We have a PhD scholarship program. We have development-related postgraduate courses, and we have also master scholarship for public policy and good governance. There is also in-country, in-region scholarship, and we have two new programs: scholarship for master courses in STEM subject, and research grant for research and PhD students. And for university management staff, we have DS project. And for a short visit for students, we have study visit for a group of students. We have a database of our scholarship. You can easily find it by typing the keyword, the scholarship database, and you will find all of our scholarship program offer for Indonesia. Next. Yeah, I will mention some of the important scholarship. The first one is the development-related postgraduate courses. Next, this program is addressed for those bachelor degree holder with minimum 2 years of working experience, and the DAAD will every year issue a list of university and study program that can be chosen by the students. Next. This is the example of a list that we issue every year, and you can see the subject, the university, the language of instruction. Applicant can only choose based on the list that we are provide. Next. The next program is the Helmut-Schmidt program, a master scholarship program for public policy and good governance. The target group of this program is the graduate with the first degree in law, politics, economics, social science, and administration. We provide funding for maximum two years, and the program is currently open with the application deadline. Most of the program is in 31st of July this month. Yeah, next. As the EPOS program for public policy and governance, we also issue a list of a university and a subject that can be chosen by the applicants. And we have 7 university partner, and one of the university partner is University of Erfurt, Willy Brandt School of Public Policy. We hope that in the coming year, there will be more application from Indonesia for this program and also for Willy Brandt. Next. Yeah. For doctoral program, we have 2 types of doctoral scholarship program for full degree in Germany and for binationally supervised. Full degree in Germany, it means that you conduct your PhD and you got the degree from the German university. But for binationally supervised PhD, you have to be enrolled in a grade doctoral program in Indonesia, but you, if you want to conduct your research in Germany, you can apply for binationally supervised PhD. For binationally supervised, the maximum duration of funding is 2 years, but for a full degree in Germany, the duration of funding is maximum 4 years. Next. This is our new program. It's Master Scholarship for STEM discipline. This target group of this program is students from developing countries who would like to complete a master degree in STEM subject in Germany. There is no limitation. There is no list that we issue for this program. So applicant can choose any university in Germany as long as there is no tuition fee. As in Germany, most of university do not impose tuition fee, as Germany always consider education as a long-term investment. Next. This is also a new program. Research grant in Germany is for PhD students and also for young postdoc. For PhD students is for conducting research for maximum 1 year, and for postdoctoral for maximum funding of 6 months. We have 2 application deadline for this program, 7 October and the 3rd of April. Next. For senior lecturers who already have a doctoral degree, we also have a research stay for university academic and scientists for conducting research in Germany for the duration of maximum 3 months. We also have 2 application deadline for this program, 7 October and the 3rd of April. Next. Yeah. We, as I have mentioned before, that beside individual funding, we also have project funding. So we give funding for university cooperation project. For example, SDG partnership, international degree programs. Also, the application for these programs must be submitted by the German side. So next. So we are the AIDS Jakarta offer information on our scholarship. We also conduct regular webinars on our current program, and also we give information and advice on cooperation opportunity with the German university. And we also take part in various events on study and research in Germany at your university. Next. So if you wish to have an online information, please do not hesitate to contact us. We will be very happy to be present in your university. Next. Okay. Please follow our social media channel, Instagram, for updated information on our programs. Thanks, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu, for a very informative presentation. Now, I invite for 2 distinguished speakers to come on the stage. For Professor Kamerling and Dr. Yopan, please with us on the stage. Today's discussion, I think it will be promises and enlightening as we will delve into this talk, the future of the work in Indonesia scenario and their consequence for public policies. We are honored here join with us two distinguished speaker, Professor Ahim Kamerling and Dr. Muhammad Yopan. Before we begin, I'll go over a few items. The first, we will have the talk by two distinguished speakers, and then for 40 minutes. So each will present 20 minutes, and then a 20 minutes Q&A session. So please hold on your question until the end of the presentation. Then lastly, we will have a MOA ceremony, signing between Willy Brandt School of Public Policy and VAUI. Before begin the talk, let me provide a brief introduction to our two speakers. Professor Ahim Kamerling, the Gerard Haniel Chair of Public Policy and International Development, currently the Director of Willy Brandt School of Public Policy, University of Erfurt. He has published in academic journals with various disciplines on a wide range of issues, from taxation, fiscal policy to social and labor market policies. Prof. Kamerling also worked as consultant to the German Parliament, German Society for Technical Cooperation, and the Open Society Foundation. Currently, he works on consequences of digitalization in middle-income countries and is writing a book about human progress and the role of public policy. And Muhammad Yopan, Dr. Muhammad Yopan, served as a government account lead at Amazon Web Services, or AWS, for over 17 years experience to the role within the IT industry. His current focus on the expediting the adoption of cloud technology such as IoT, big data, AI, ML within the public sector in Indonesia. Holding both a BSc and MBA from Institut Teknologi Bandung, Yopan also earned PhD in Strategic Management from Universitas Indonesia. He is also a lecturer in public administration at VAUI with expertise in digital government and management. Without further ado, please join with me, and Professor Kamerling, the time is yours.
Hello? Yes. I put myself a timer, just to make sure that I don't talk too much. I try to be even briefer. So let's see. But first, thanks to everyone, to Pak Reza and the University of Indonesia, to the Vice Dean, of course, and also to DAAD. If you want to find an exhibit of a scholarship holder who went to Germany, you can, for instance, talk to Teoku later on to understand how you get a scholarship and what's life at the Brandt School. And Reza is also an alumni of Brandt School. So thank you very much for both of you being here. So very briefly, what is this? What will I talk about? I hope we are very complementary, because unlike you, I don't know much about technology, at least not from a practical perspective. So I usually let our students teach me technology. That is at least my approach. So I wanted to briefly introduce a bit the project. Check. Next slide. Okay, now it works. Okay, oh, wrong side probably. Or do I need to, where's the? I always return to the same slide. This was so what do we talk about when we talk about the future of work? But of course, there is different forms of technology out there, and that have sort of a capacity to transform the workplace, right? And the interesting thing is that what these technologies are is increasingly rapidly changing itself. So we talked about platforms, then we talked about automation, now we talk about AI. So there's a lot of instability in these discussions, what we actually mean by technology. But in our work, we are mainly interested in what the socioeconomic impact and effects of these forms of technology are. And then what comes out in terms of maybe policy demands also. So to make an example, if we find out that certain skills, people having certain skills are redundant and are no longer needed in the labor market, we probably need to change our education system. or we need to improve our social protection. So this is a little bit the idea behind this. But just to show you how dynamic the whole debate evolves is that in the 2000s, when we talked about future of work, we mainly meant platforms, right? So that was a big topic, and it still is. But interestingly enough, then from 2010s onwards, all of a sudden we were, at least in OECD countries and in Europe, we were all of a sudden very much afraid of automation. But I don't know whether this actually also infused the debates in Indonesia. In part, we are studying this, Willy and I, but at least McKinsey wrote an important report on this in 2018-19. So it created a big stir of sorts, right? But nowadays, that's even not the latest news anymore, because as you all know, now everybody talks about artificial intelligence. So it's interesting to observe itself that the debate evolves so fast. And that probably is a sign of how rapid technology changes. You can fill libraries full of academic research talking about the socioeconomic impact, right? And there's actually too much to be summarized here. I just give you maybe a little overview, but I cannot even talk about all of this. But there's so many different dimensions to this, what is at stake here, of course. Some people talk about the number of jobs, whether it's increasing or decreasing. Some people, for instance, are interested in whether digitalization helps formalization of the workforce or actually makes informal sector jobs grow. Some people are very much afraid that it will make redundant the demand for certain skills. There's this famous thesis of job polarization, that kind of the middle range skills, people working in on the computer, but very routine tasks in insurance companies, that they will be redundant and no longer needed. So what do these people do? And then there's, of course, a big discussion about productivity and inequality. So there's many different scenarios. Maybe later on we can talk about what some more details. I just pick very briefly some points. So the first point I want to make is the discussion is still very much biased to OECD countries. And increasingly, there's a lot of information about China and India. But at least in the international discussions, also in English-speaking sources, Indonesia and other Southeast Asian countries don't happen so much. And that's in part also the idea of the project, to learn more also on an international scale from these countries. Then there's a quite remarkable disagreement. So some people are very euphoric about the topic, some people are very alarmed. And that in part also depends a little bit on many different things. Namely, for instance, the type of technology, and also probably also a little bit how well the economy does in general at the moment when we talk about. Just to illustrate, this is a map produced by Willy, showing that actually it's kind of a heat map, if you want, the number of studies you can find if you do a systematic literature review on the topic. And so the darker, the more studies you find. So the darkest place in that heat map is India, because most of the studies have been conducted on India, followed closely by China. Indonesia is somewhere in the middle of the spectrum. And then there's a handful of other Latin American countries, but a lot of even Southeast Asian countries are not very covered extensively, or Latin American countries, and of course also Asian countries. So there is still a dearth of information about this in a certain sense. The other thing which I briefly wanted to mention is, here we just plot the number of times one particular study has been cited. So it's called, I don't remember the title now. The authors are called Frey and Osborne. So it's probably the most famous study in the last 20 years or so about the topic. And that was really alarmistic, because it said some 50% of all jobs might be suitable for automation and would kind of disappear, if you want, in the next 20 to 30 years. Interestingly enough, this study is very often cited, as you see. These are the orange bars, right? But only a couple of years later, another study was published by some other authors, revisiting the kind of the estimation technology or method, if you want. And they come up with a much more or much less alarmistic scenario, up to 10%, maybe sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on the country context. So these are the blue bars. The remarkable thing is that still until today, actually the orange study is cited much more, although in all likelihood, the blue study is the correct one. So there is a certain tendency even among social scientists to exaggerate a little bit the fears. And this, by the way, the technology used for the Indonesian study by McKinsey followed more the orange estimation technique than the blue one. So in some sense, most likely McKinsey also overestimated the number of jobs at risk. But to be honest, McKinsey also was reporting on the number of jobs created. So it's not so alarmistic after all. Yeah, I probably skipped that. We don't need to go into details. So just from this part of the talk, there's a lot of uncertainties, of course. But what is probably clear is that digitalization will be a big driver of inequalities. Because, you know, if you think about platforms, you know, you need very few companies to run the business, right? Same thing with e-commerce and so on and so forth. There's a lot of problematic aspects of it. And of course, this raises the question how policy makers can deal with this, right? And what's the role of the public sector also in this regard, in terms of what kind of education system do we need, what kind of social protection system, and maybe even labor regulation. So this is a little bit what we also want to do. So in our project, which is funded by the German Research Foundation, we look at 3 countries, and we picked relatively large countries with, that are also sort of heterogeneous. So Mexico is, for instance, a relatively large country with a population of, I think, 130 million or so, with big geographic extensions. So there is some, and there's also a huge degree of informality. So we look for countries that share certain categoristics, but which also has a digital economy. So a little bit like Indonesia, and we pair this also with South Africa. And we look at several sectors, different technologies, and so on and so forth. Perhaps just very briefly, why do we care about, why would we compare them? Well, the initial hunch why we wanted to compare these countries is that they are all, that the relationship between the new economy, the digital economy, and the government is always a little bit different. And maybe we can talk about this, whether our initial assessment was right. So in Mexico, basically, the Mexican government let US American companies do whatever they want. So that's the Mexican approach, right? In Indonesia, there is probably also kind of a relatively liberal approach to the new economy. So they are happy that they are there. But there's also this kind of national digital champions and so on and so forth. So that probably creates a bit of a different dynamic. And we've compared this. So we use these examples from the rides-hailing services here. Where it gets interesting is in South Africa, because the approach might be liberal, but then actually sometimes violent contestation happens. So the taxi drivers and the Uber drivers go against each other and so on and so forth. So in all 3 countries, the initial response is always the same, but the way how it plays out is very different. And then that was in part the idea here. So some of our initial findings from our own project are that actually we see, as I said, fairly similar scenarios, but fewer alarmistic reactions. So for instance, when we look at public opinion, we have piloted a field survey in Ghana, and now we are using this to actually run an online survey in Mexico, Indonesia, and South Africa, to ask people a little bit what they think about certain types of technologies, how much they use it in the workplace. And we see that they are mainly fairly optimistic about it. The similar goes to our media analysis. So we do a bit of content analysis for all 3 countries. And then we do some expert interviews. So this was part of the reason we had the workshop this morning. And there we find a little bit of more variation. So it depends a little bit on which sector you look at. I skip most of the findings. I just wanted to briefly talk a little bit about as one example of the project we are currently doing, Willy and myself. We look at 4 online news outlets and have collected more than 500 short articles and coded them quantitatively and qualitatively to see whether the sources make a difference. And that also in political communication and psychology, we would call it frame analysis, which frames are more salient. So which topics occur more. And so just to give you one little piece, I can give you other forms of information. It's probably not surprising, but still interesting to note for the project is how different the emotive tone, so you know whether it's positive or negative an article, how this is across different news sources. And there we see that the government-related source, Antara, there is a clear difference between, or a clear dominance of positive frames, if you want. So government news sources would always highlight the employment potential, productivity potential of modern technology. Neutral and negative sentiments don't happen so much. We see that the positivity is always the major category for also the other sources, but it's less dominant, let's say, right? So we see a lot of negative, neutral assessments for companies or outlets like CNN or Liputan. When we occasionally also see some negative comments about worries about the future of work. So it's a bit of a difference, and we can talk about more this in the Q&A about the content analysis, if you will. So yeah, and then if you talk about the details, maybe we can also do this later. But of course, we not only we coded this not only quantitatively, we also looked at the qualitative content, right? So, for instance, what we observe is that some frames that play a huge role in European debates are almost absent in the media content analysis for Indonesia. So issues like data protection, our data privacy issues are not a topic. It's a big topic in Europe, also in terms of workers' data, of course, and also social protection and things like that are a relatively marginal topic in Indonesia. One important exception, which is cut off here, is e-commerce. E-commerce, as you might know, appears in the corpus quite a lot. Yeah, I think I skipped this one here. So maybe just the lessons so far we learned here from our initial assessment. One has to say that we are in our first year of the project, so we have barely started with the Indonesian case study. So I'm really looking forward to learn much more from my esteemed colleague here. Is that what we see in terms of the population, overall relatively positive sentiments, and also in general the topic seems not very salient, but if you look at specific sectors it does become more relevant. So maybe one more of maybe a little bit of a provocative thesis rather than a real finding could be it's interesting to note that in OECD countries, people tend to be much more skeptic about this. In Indonesia, they are much more optimistic. So maybe OECD countries tend to overestimate the dangers and underestimate the benefits. And maybe in Indonesia, we are doing the opposite. But that's maybe also something for our discussion, whether this is true or wrong. But in all, so where most people would agree is that the digital transformation is a big disruption, and it will create tremendous demands for new education, right? In terms of digital literacy, in terms of STEM education, also in terms of digital inequalities, and so how to basically, for instance, also provide help for elderly workers using digital technology and so on and so forth. But I leave it at that, and thank you very much for your attention.
Oke, thanks so much, Prof. Ahim. Yang saya hormati Mbak Indri, Mas Reza, and our esteemed speaker, Prof. Ahim, and also Mbak Maria. So just continue for Prof. Ahim explanation, right? This is about the Indonesia. So let's start with the next slide, and I have several agenda here. Okay, sorry. Sorry. This one. Okay, I have several topics here. First, let's see for the trend of the technology and also impact, right? So if you see here, the wave of technology is amazing, right? In one side, you know, this is the AI for the presenter. You can imagine TV1, they release the AI for the presenter. So what does it mean? Maybe there is no like a presenter anymore, right? Everything is like a replaced by AI. But in the other side, there is Gojek here. Gojek is like a very good for us, right? A lot of people get job because of Gojek. Meaning in one side, this is danger, one side, this is positive. So that's why a lot of the research that we did in around the world asking, this is good for you or bad for you? Two sides, right? And the good thing is for Indonesia is positive, right? As you mentioned. So this is something that we think that good also for Indonesia. So if you think that technology is bad, change your mind. Technology is good actually. But how to leverage that? That's the point, right? So what is the trend of technology? If you see in this table, so this is the technology and this is the time, right? Previously, we have like in early 80s, we have server. And then after that, doing laptop. And then come internet. And then have cloud. After that, very rapidly, technology growing. Cloud, big data. Cloud, big data, IoT. Cloud, big data, IoT, AI, machine learning, and so on. And now we have generative AI. Very fast, very rapid. And this is we call industry revolution 4.0. And then this is the trend of the technology itself. You can imagine maybe next year, we can like another generative AI or maybe new term of technology. We don't know, right? Very fast. And from the PwC in the last 3 years, they said that this is the trend as well. So coming from the server into the cloud, because the cloud, they have a lot of things, IoT, big data, AI, and so on. And this is, if you do WhatsApp on cloud, if you post some posting in Facebook, cloud as well. If you use Gojek on the cloud as well, including machine learning, right? How you know the best driver, the closest driver? This is using AI. So you can imagine AI is everything, everywhere, and use it every day because of that. And then after that, this is my research 3 years ago. We defined that actually the technology like a mobile, internet, IoT, cloud, and so on, actually this can boost the national productivity. That's the truth. And national productivity will increase the economic of growth. So meaning that if you use this, automatically in every single country, the productivity will be increased. And automatically the growth of this country will be also increased. So that's why I endorse you to embrace with technology. Don't avoid that. Don't refuse that, because this is our tools to increase our productivity and also economic growth. The second topics that I would like to share with you, we did the research. This is quite early. This is like March this year. So we did research in Asia Pacific, how the penetration and adoption of AI in Asia Pacific. So on the right side, you can see AI, big data, and GenAI, and so on. What does it mean? Actually, AI is like a very long time ago, like early 60, right? And then come machine learning, and then deep learning, and now we know generative AI. Maybe in your phone or your laptop, you use chatbot, right? Chatbot is part of the GenAI. So this is the latest technology that we have. So this is talking about the AI. So our research that we did in Asia Pacific, We asked some like 5,000 employers in Asia Pacific. We asked how and which department then will get benefit from AI. They said the most important, the most department, they said that information technology. But if you can see, business operator, finance, even sales, like our human resource, they also embrace with AI. What does it mean? AI is not only for the IT guy. AI is for all of us. If you are sales, if you are HR, if you are operation, you can embrace with AI. You can use AI for your productivity. Second one, what kinds of AI that can help you for everyday works? The most people said that automate tasks. If you do like a translation, every day you do translation and so on. Now you can use chatbot very fast, right? Very easy, right? Even fluent than others. So this is very good for your productivity. The second one, improve your workflow and outcomes, and also learn new skills. If you don't know anything, you just ask chatbot. Is that right? Other than like go to a library and then ask someone or read the book and so on. Ask chatbot is very easy and very fast. So everyone use chatbot to learn new skills. So use that. And then when we ask the expected benefit of Gen AI in the workplace, they said that increase innovation and creativity. You can ask AI. Really apologize because this is a lot of scientists here. What kinds of the research then can be trained in next 3 years? You can just find the latest research, and then you can do some research because of that. So you don't need like a lot of read a lot of journal and so on, but just ask AI about that, right? So you can good feasibility for the innovation for the research and so on. And then when we ask the more technical roles that expecting for the cloud, this is Indonesia compared with others, yeah. Let's say Indonesia here, right? 79% of Indonesian technical, they will expect to use AI in the next 5 years. This is above than average on the Asia Pacific, which is good, right? So Indonesian people, they know AI already, and they know how to use AI for the technology, for the technical team. But in other way, like a non-tech on the black box, this is for non-tech, they also embrace with AI. And this is above the average of the Asia Pacific, which is good. So AI is not only for the IT, AI also can be used for other team, non-IT. And when we ask to the employer, are you willing to pay more for AI guy with the AI skill? They said yes. Meaning that if you have the AI skills, your probability to get higher salary is very potential. Good, right? So my suggestion, if you're from public administration, if you're from the management, learn about AI and how AI can help yourself. Because employer, because the company will get benefit from your AI skill, and they will increase your salary for that. That's from our research. And this is the minimum salary boost from workers acquiring AI skills. If you can see here, on the middle income countries like Indonesia, India, Thailand, and so on, right? You can see the percentage is a bit higher than other countries like Singapore, South Korea, and so on. The reason is because in Indonesia, we have a lot of job that very manual things, and it can be replaced by AI, meaning that they need AI to boost productivity rather than just like people doing same thing every day, very manual, right? So that's why on the mid-income countries, the percentage is higher than like a Singapore and others, right? So this is good thing also for Indonesia, because Indonesia realized that AI will like a leapfrog for the adoption, for the economic growth, and so on. This is good for Indonesia. And when we asked about the AI-driven productivity gains, they said that because of AI will automate the routine tasks. So in Indonesia, the percentage is higher than the average. Again, AI is replacing the routine tasks. My suggestion, don't work on the routine tasks. Work in the innovation tasks, the creativity, because routine tasks will be replaced by AI. But in terms of the shortage of AI talent, this is also challenging for Indonesia. They know AI is good. They know AI can gain the productivity and so on. But the problem is the talent itself. So every single people, oh, AI is an IT guy. If I'm in VIA, I don't care about AI. No. So Indonesia need more than 15 million, sorry, 9 million digital talent in 15 years, which is 600,000 people every year. So that's why I believe like in Cominfo, in this university as well, they done a lot of training for the technology and so on because of Indonesia need more talents because they know AI is important, but they have skill gap. And this is very big. And what's the critical AI skill? Maybe you can just see the best one is like a creativity, thinking and design, and also ethics, and also maybe writing on the number 9. So AI is also very important for any single skills. This is common skill, right? That we have to also master on it. But the barrier is first lack of knowledge how to implement AI. Yes, I know AI, but how to implement in our job? That's the difficulties. So my suggestion is see a lot of use case in other countries, how they use cloud, and maybe some of them will fit with your daily job and adapt it. Next topic, I would like to share with you the assessment of the future of work. And this is quite common. This is like 7 years ago. So please be careful if you're part of this job. The first is something that can be automated. If you're doing something that can be automated, you are in danger. The second one, who can do work? If the workforce can be replaced by the AI, this is also danger. And the third one is where is work done? If the place of your work can be replaced by AI, this is also very dangerous. And this is the forecast of the top 10 skills in next year: analytical thinking, innovation, active thinking, and learning, and so on. So meaning that if you do something routine, you have to move to something that more analyzing, more thinking, more innovative, to avoid you become replaced by AI. And next, I would like to also talk about the impact of the workforce. And this is the impact of the workforce itself. The first is the opportunity. Yes, we have, with the technology, we have the flexibility, autonomy of workers. We can also gain the global talents pool for employer. Let's say if you're have skill on HR, and then you have AI skill, your job currently, your opportunity is not only in Indonesia, but also in other countries. You can imagine, let's say in German, they need like a part-time, and then in you. So you don't need to like a flight to German. You can just working from home and then doing some job as a part-time, that's fine, right? So meaning that if you embrace the technology, think the benefit of that. Think that you can go global, even though you are stay at home, right? So be actively to on the association to get the talent pool, to be part of the talent pool. And also you have the innovation entrepreneurship opportunities because of the technology. You can do everything that you want. You can also invite your team maybe in other countries as well. And this become your opportunity as well to come to that country, to penetrate, to make market in that country as well. But the challenge is, the first is job insecurity. So now, let's say if you are the lecturer of UI, I believe this is quite very safe, yeah, very safe job, right? Because there's no like a UI fire someone, right, for the lecturer. But if you're part of this workforce, which is like a gig workers, as a part-time. Sometimes maybe the market is changed. They also can fire you anytime, right? So this is the job insecure and also lack of benefit. Let's say if you're currently doing your job and then you get like a monthly salary, this is good, right? But if you do this, maybe the benefit is not really high, but you can make it more job. Maybe in one day you can like a 6 job in different companies, in different project and so on. So make it like a scaling, right? So another challenge is issue about job quality and also working condition. You are not in good building. You are maybe in your home with no aircon, very hot and so on, right? But you can do that. And also the impact on the traditional employment and industry. In Indonesia, a lot of people doing just like routines in manufacturing and so on, right? They have big impact because of this AI. And the last one, the challenge is, of course, regulation and also legal challenge. This is our government job to ensure that everybody can get benefit, but they provide the right regulation and also legal. One of the example that I got from the research is, this is from the West Java, yeah. West Java is the biggest province in Indonesia. And what we can see here, the gig workers, actually, they have wages more than regional minimum wages, more than UMR. This is good, right? So you can imagine, on the morning, you can, with your family, with your kids, go to the school, and then after that, you are doing the job at home. But your salary is bigger than UMR. Great, right? The second point that we found here, gig worker office hour is too high. Let's say on the Gojek, yeah, you can imagine, right? How long the duration of working hours? Very long, maybe like a 10 hours and so on, right? More than like a regular workers. So that's why you have to make your life balance as well. And also here, you can see the problem is, even though the wages is good, right? But the job security issue. Let's say you are the driver of Gojek and then the rain, flood, you cannot get money on that day. This is also job security issue. And the most important thing is household economics instability. Your wife will be angry with you because of you are lazy or maybe there will be disaster and so on, right? So good in one thing is good, but in another thing is the challenge, right? So my message is be balanced. If you understand the risk, you can take it. You can avoid it. You can handle it. The last one is, how about the strategy of the future of work and the gigs economy? Our suggestion is, we have three parties here, right? The government, the workers, and also employers. As a government, as also Prof. Asim mentioned, you have to also adopt with the labor laws and accommodate the gig works. Redefine the benefit, protection, and classification. Maybe UMR is not really relevant with the gig workers. It can be higher because this is part-time and so on, right? So the government have to redefine it. And then proactive to support the local talents for the global demands. In Indonesia, a lot of people have very good knowledge, skills. But if government just stay without do anything, so these talents will be useless. If government proactively collect the community and also offering to other countries and so on, this is will be good for the Indonesian talent. And the last one is talent development for the new skill and competency. Gig workers, new skills. They need AI. They need to understand about the risk and so on. This is new skills as well. And government have to also develop these talents with new skills and competencies. For the workers like us, so we have to skill adaptability and also continuous learning. Don't satisfy with your achievement now, because world is growing, technology is also growing. Still continue learning and then get the updates of skills that currently happen in the world. And then diverse your both technical and also soft skills, including digital literacy and also communication to become you become the competitive person. And then build your personal brand using your LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube even, to make yourself exist, and then you are the best in your expertise. And then the last one for the employers, this is for the companies, integrate the teams to doing into the team dynamics, and then fair compensation. And then also most important thing is equip them with the technology for the collaboration. We have Zoom now, we have a lot of like a WhatsApp group and so on. This is good. Also build a long-term relationship. The reason is because people are like a part-time job, right? Very short. But if you have very good talent, you have to make long-term relationship with them because this is your investment. Yes, I think this is the last slide from my side. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mas Yopan and Prof. Ahim for a very insightful presentation. Now we have some times for Q&A session. For participants who would like to ask the question, please raise your hand, introduce yourself. Okay. The first question goes to Rizal and you.
So thank you for the opportunity, Mbak Maria. The question is for both of you, Mr. Yopan and Professor Kemerling. So I'm Rizal Ramdhani for the Center for Governance, Public Policy and Business Study. So what I want to tell you is I'm pretty much agree with your point of view towards the industrial, but we are in academics, so academics have set of rules. Yeah. And what academics do is synthesizing idea and to be respect about the process. So how do you guys set the boundaries for it? So as an academics, not as a helicopter point of view that you tell about this thing. Yeah, for both of you.
Okay, we collect 3 questions first.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Anindya from the double degree program of VIA. So it is an interesting topic actually to talk about the future and AI. It is the most recent changes and emerging issues. I would like to little bit reference to Professor Kemerling that mentioned about India and China has a lot of research on this topic. Probably in reference to Indonesia as well, you could see that both of them are big countries with big demographic, a lot of people, a lot of population, and we as well will be facing a demographic bonus. In relation to AI and our demographic bonus, to the board, this is the question to the board. What would you suggest to be the best policy for Indonesian government, especially in reference to India and China, which we can see have the ways to strategically manage the resource. Like China is going all forward with technology. Meanwhile, India has a brain drain that we see a lot of CEOs from India, the Google CEOs from India, everyone sees, but the India itself, the country itself is not developed. So there's that kind of risk that Indonesia need to face. I think that's my question. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Danira and I'm a public administration student, class of 2022. So in Indonesia, annual recruitment of civil servants plays a role in reducing the unemployment rate. We all know that public servant is the most secure work in terms of welfare due to the long-term benefits provided, such as retirement benefits, and the chances of being dismissed are very low. My question is, however, will the presence of AI affect the amount of recruitment and benefits that employers receive? Is a career as public servant still can be guaranteed in the future? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Tias from Postgraduate Program Development as well as non-permanent lecturer in Public Administration Department, Universitas Indonesia. My question is related to the demographic pyramid between Indonesia and Germany. I saw the data, the latest data from BPS or Statistic Central in Indonesia. The demographic pyramid in Indonesia is like triangle in the pyramid form, and the other side is Germany that shapes like a grenade. Is there any linking or correlation between the demographic data to the future work in Indonesia? Because right now Indonesia is pursuing the best of their resources to achieve the golden era in 2045. So we also need to consider our context in Indonesia, that the demographic condition is mostly consists of younger generation. So thank you for the opportunity.
For the question, now we go to the first question. Professor Ahim or Yopan?
Yeah, I think the first question was about synthesizing the results, right? So, and this is in part actually also that's what we spent the whole first year on, and we're still not concluded. But yeah, we are trying to do a really serious systematic literature review on the topic, looking at kind of commonalities in the findings and differences. Initially, I had the hunch, or I would follow the regular insight to say the mass of the studies, like, you know, go like this is the Condorcet mass theorem, that masses make fewer mistakes than individuals in assessment. But now I have started reconsidering this opinion, because there's a lot of copying errors. So if the first study gets it wrong, it will be copied a lot. And from my point of view, Frey and Osborne is such an example. I'm of course exaggerating a little bit, but the technology, the estimation they used is clearly not up to the standard, mainly because they look at entire occupations rather than tasks, for instance. So it's not that 50% of the jobs will disappear, because within these jobs are routine and non-routine tasks nested, and only part of the job can be actually automated. So this is a little bit the problem, and maybe also a little bit our contribution in that field, that we have to be very careful just basically to do unweighted meta analysis of this. We really have to see whether we believe influential studies to have a legacy effect. And when we look at this, I think we are going towards something what I explained a little bit, right? So that there's actually a lot of uncertainty also, and this has to be the case because the object which we study always changes. So when we talked about automation, it was really about manufacturing and then increasingly white collar workers, you know, like this kind of desk tasks that can be automated. But actually with AI, it might be already a different beast altogether, right? So we learn a lot that creative skills are still the ones that carry us through. But maybe the next version of ChatGPT is much more creative than human beings. I mean, in part, it already is. So the question then becomes, what we need even to define for ourselves what creativity then means. So in that sense, I think this is a very challenging topic to make serious scientific assessments, because it's so notoriously unstable. But I'll leave it at that. Should we go question by question first? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much. For this study, right? So two sides of technology, right? Bad and good, right? So I think the most study, I think the most important is you find the right use case, how to leverage the technology. Let's say 15 years ago, yeah, you study how to leverage the Google Map and super apps, and then you find Gojek. Very good study, right? And if you build this study and then you make the super apps and improve the productivity of our people in Indonesia. So same like AI. If you have the research that how leverage AI, let's say for the education, and you find something to boost your student productivity, your lecturer productivity, this is very good, right? So if you find something that really bad, please avoid that, or don't use this case, because this is replacement layoff and so on, right? Avoid that. So I think the most important is like find the right use case, how to adopt AI, and then boost the tech productivity, economics, and so on. Yeah.
Yes, I have to check notes. Yeah, China and India in relation to AI. Yeah, this is a very difficult topic, of course. I think all, even bigger countries struggle. So for instance, in Europe, we always tried to create our own national champions or European-wide champions. France, for instance, was very adamant about this. So they tried to create their French version of Amazon. It didn't work. Because the problem of platform economics is, of course, that the winner usually takes it all. It's very competitive markets, and that there is also a huge initial start advantage. So basically, the first that comes out of the post very often is the winner, at least in the short to medium run. So that's probably something that by accident can happen. So in Indonesia, it worked with Gojek, but it's not a strategy the government can kind of influence directly, at least. It can improve the probability of being smart about AI by research and development, and maybe also by sound regulation. So that's what the Europeans do. They try to harness a little bit AI also in the, not only in the positive, but also in the negative sense that you put certain types of limits to it. But whether this works is also a question, because if most research is done outside Europe, then it's a question. So for a country like Indonesia, what actually I learned this morning, which I can directly feed back to you, is which I do find interesting, that most of these models are based on, of course, large sets of text data, and that they are trained often using ethically dubious coding procedures. So, you farm out a lot of coding to some African country in English speaking, and so they are not well trained to Indonesia, and maybe that's where there could be a niche also for Indonesian companies to really cater services. Probably that already happens, I would presume. But yeah, and then very briefly about regional inequality, that indeed is a big question. I tend to see always also the positive sides of technology, because I could, for instance, imagine that if you live in a very rural area in Indonesia, and if you really manage to get at least connectivity with a mobile phone, in the future you might at least have access to an AI doctor, things like that, or maybe even drone or something like that. But so it can be good news for the countryside and for remote areas, but there needs to be a lot of investment for that. So this needs also to be a national priority, that these remote areas are not left behind.
Yeah, just to add on that, for the current project that currently we are doing related to the healthcare, right? So on the remote area, actually, you can imagine, someone got sick, right, because of cancer in Fakfak Irian Jaya, let's say. This is very far away from Jakarta, right? So currently, Ministry of Health, they use Starlink for the internet connectivity. And then currently, we, in AWS, we developed the AI for the, what we call ultrasound, for the detecting the cancer and so on, right? So you can imagine someone in Fakfak Irian Jaya, they got sick, and then ultrasound, right? But there is no specialist doctor there. So with the AI, currently we are trying to interpret this disease. If this is really bad, they have to go to Jakarta, let's say, for the next follow-up. Otherwise, maybe the good medicine is enough, right? So this is very important in Indonesia, currently, that we are doing with Ministry of Health to help the Indonesian big population with an distribute doctor, because every single doctor would like to work in Jakarta also, right? no one can work in remote area, right? But currently, this is something that's very good for Indonesia. Using AI, using the technology like Starlink for the remote area, this is helping a lot of people. Yeah. The third one is about the public servant replacement. Yeah. I'll give first. Okay. Yeah. So don't worry about that as well. Yeah. For the public servant replacement, right? So I believe on the government side, I believe like a Pan RB, yeah, they also see AI is like a risk, right, for the people that do routines, right? So I believe also they will think about how to upgrade your skills. It's not only like a tech routine task, right? So this is not easy. And this is also the chance of you as a student maybe or the scientist to find the right use case, how to leverage AI for the public servant rather than just like replace them, right? Use, let's say, for the what we call if you are, let's say, in Ministry of Health, as I mentioned before. So if you can think about the how to help your patient in remote area using the AI, if you're Ministry of Health civil servant, you can see how to invite the vendor of the AI in the healthcare. Invite them and then ask them your pain points. In Indonesia, we have a lot of remote area, a lot of doctor, limited doctor, and so on. How you can help them, and then you become, let's say, for the what we call the program manager of the AI. Good, right? You can move from your routines to become the product manager for the AI. This is new. I think this is new role as well. There's no role like this before, right? You can ask this to your boss, to your minister. Hey, you need to build some like a new department for the technology, and I will become the public program manager for that, right? But you learn a bit about AI and then how AI can help on the healthcare. This is something that unique but need your improvement, your innovation. Learn about AI, how you can implement AI in your daily job. Yeah, this is my view for it.
Yeah, so I think there's two different situations: those who already have a job in government and those who aspire to get a job in government. Those who aspire have an investment decision to make, right? So what kind of skills do you want to prioritize in order to make yourself interesting? And that's, of course, an interesting topic in itself. If the technology changes so rapidly, so you need to always kind of think about the next big thing. So maybe thinking about virtual reality while we are still talking about AI of sorts, right? At least have this on your horizon and not be entirely surprised if in 3 years' time everybody talks about full immersion. Well, just to make an example, right? We see this already in TVET training a little bit, but it might be also become a tool even in the government sector. Maybe not right now, but technology really gets cheaper. Again, in public health, it's something which will definitely be used, but probably for many applications. Just to make one example. So for those who are already in the government sector, there it depends a little bit on their own personal job security. And and this is why in our project, we also occasionally look back. This is, of course, not the first technological disruption. So what very often happens is if you, I don't know, introduce an automation process and it affects a lot of people, that tends to be good news for those victims, because then usually some sort of collective arrangement in the government sector is preferred to, because the government sector, but I might be wrong, but it's bad news for them if they fire, I don't know, 30,000 toll collectors on the highways or something like that. So it's not that there's an immediate hiring and firing effect probably foreseen, but what is clearly, especially for the younger generations in the government sector, it still makes a lot of sense to do constant reskilling and retraining, because the nature of your work will change. Otherwise, it will get very boring, or you will be more put to more remote areas of sorts. Yes. Demographic change. Yeah, this is fascinating. This is really fascinating. So there is a future of work and there is a future of work, right? So in the future of work, we are talking about next 20 years or so. This is when Indonesia still looks demographically strong. But of course, if you are a long-term policymaker, you also need to think about what to do with the elderly people in 20 years time, right? So this is when probably it will start kicking in. And we see this now in Germany. As a matter of fact, I'm really flabbergasted how fast the discourse or the debate changed around things like digitalization in Germany. So when we started the project, or when I started doing research on this, it was still there was still this big automation fear, namely a lot of people will lose their jobs, and so we need and this is a problem because we have so many unemployed people, right? So that was the basic narrative here, and this against mass immigration. So people would say, oh, we need to stop accepting migrants. This has changed completely. Nowadays, when you listen to politicians, they would say, we need automation because we have skill shortage, because we have too few people working. So in that sense, there is a link between the demographic change and the digitalization debate for sure.
Yeah, very brief for me. So I think every single generation on the research that we did, yeah, I didn't show on slide. Actually, the Gen Z, they're a bit reluctant with the technology. That's the fact that we got. Maybe the reason is because they just knew, and then they was born in like a technology environment. This is just technology, right? So they don't know, but how behind the scene of the technology itself. But from like millennials or maybe others above, so they think how the technology works, and then they believe it can improve the productivity and so on. So I think from our side, we have to also tell to the Gen Z and so on, you have to catch up the technology. You have to also up to date with technology. It's not just a use that, but how you can leverage the technology itself for your productivity. Because our generation now is like a consumption, consume only, right? They don't care about technology, and they just like a market, not a producent, right? So I think this is quite dangerous as well for our next generation as well.
Thank you, Pak Yopan, for the answer. And we still have another one Q&A session.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the insightful sessions. My name is Linda Shafamazaya. I'm a bachelor student in public administration. So my question is, I believe that when we're talking about future of work, it's also related about reskilling and also retraining. So one of initiatives that made by the Indonesian government is to make pre-employment training, or we call about kartu prakerja. So I did research about this, and I interviewing the ministry coordinating of the economic affairs. So one of their problem is still need to overcome is about they don't have labor market information system. So with this labor market information system, it will be helped governments to resolve about the mismatch about the skill in the society to the company requirements. So my question is how, maybe your suggestions how to overcome with this situation. So that's where governments we can't overcome with this problem. Thank you.
Question. So please, Ms. Pak Yopan.
Yeah, thanks so much. So yeah, kartu prakerja, right? So I think this is also important, and also I also spoke with Kominfo for the they call digital talent scholarship, right? This is quite similar. Prakerja is a bit broad, but digital talent scholarship is like a more digital, right? But both of them, they have same issue, the demand. They don't know the demand, right? So the reason is because a lot of people in Indonesia doing job as a, what do you call, unofficial, informal, meaning that you very hard for you to like collect the information from the people, are you also open for vacancy and or not, right? So maybe and 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 that because of the currently like BKPM, right, for the investment, they don't know how much the companies in Indonesia. Most of them is like also informal as well, right? So maybe because of that, there is no demand that can be collected by the ministries, right? So maybe if I'm, yeah, this is, I also speak with the BKPM, right? They have also difficulties to do that. And if you know like OSS, right? Open single system, right? So they try to make it easier and simple to make everybody that have the company, they register. When they register, they will ask, are you need employee or not, right? And so on. So this is like not one case, right? But this is another case, maybe from the BKPM. And the next step is why they have to register themselves or the OSS if there's no benefit. If you put benefit there, let's say for the deduction of tax, maybe they will also interest because from the tax. So something that very complex, right? It's very complex, not easy to answer. But I think this is how government have to think from the talent, become the corporation, become the tax and so on, right? So this is something that complex. A lot of people have to also focus on that as well. It's not easy answer. Yeah.
A friend of mine who's in the labor market economist wrote a very interesting paper on pork cycles in skilling of sorts. So what this means is in economics, you have this idea that sometimes supply and demand never ever match, because either supply overshoots or demand overshoots because of information lacks. So essentially, the typical example would be, you know, a farmer brings, I don't know, maybe here we shouldn't use pork, so pigs. So let's say some cows to the market and observes the price and says, actually, I could have sold many more. So next time he brings many more, but then it's an oversaturation and then the price undershoots again. So there's no stable equilibrium. And he used the same example to say that once the government announces job scarcities, it's usually too late. And then you have a lot of people graduating in engineering, and all of a sudden you don't need them anymore. And then next time the government announces, no, engineering is out, you need to do something else. And then we have a lack of engineering. So there could be the risk that the government makes matters worse, especially if you're always behind the curve. So what to do in this case is it very much depends on the type of skills. In that sense, I think big data can actually work. So nowadays, actually, researchers use more and more other forms of information, for instance, LinkedIn pages, where companies list the types of skills they are needing, because this is more instantaneous, right? So you get kind of an idea and you can use some algorithm to quantify what types of skills are needed right now, right? And on this deduction, maybe you can then think about your own skills you want to accumulate. But of course, very often, it doesn't work in other sectors. In TVET, it's really usually big companies needing reliable sources. And that's where the certification issue is very important. So that's a different story, right? And for the informal sector activity, it might be something else. So I guess in general, it's to invest in robust skills that are not technology dependent or even software dependent, but really kind of, you know, general coding skills or general intelligent communication about technology. So these kind of skills that survive, so to speak, a lot of technology innovations and rounds of technological change. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Ahim and Bapak Yopan for sharing insight and expertise with us. I think this is the end of the session. I also would like to thank for the question delivered by the participant. Now we will proceed to the signing of MOA between Willy Brandt School of Public Policy and Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia. For the representative of VIA and Willy Brandt are invited to come to the stage. think we can go to the seat. Pak Yopan, representative from the AD, please come on the stage. Yeah. Bu Olivia, maybe? The representative from the AD? Mbak Muji. Yeah, a token of appreciation from Willy Brandt. Okay. Now we will have exchange of token appreciation between Via UI and Willy Brandt for Ibu